Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. It's actually happening. We're actually seeing position 3 Chen being played at the Chengdu Major, and it's not just being played by 33, who we're going to watch in this game, but also by Shashlu of Gambit. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but whatever. So in my last video on Offlane Chen, I sort of predicted that 33 would play it at the Major. So this is not a huge surprise, but the fact that it's actually been picked up by other players just shows how strong this is in the meta right now. So we can definitely answer the question in the last video. It is not a meme. It is something that definitely fits into the meta. Chen is very strong right now. He's at the Major almost every game. He's either being first phase banned or picked. And this indeed is also a first pick Chen. So Zero is very strong right now, and having this flexibility of being played either as a 3 or the 5 definitely adds to his strength. So before we get into this video, make sure you join the fold and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get all the latest Chen gameplay and Chen guides to improve your Chen gameplay. And now let's get into this replay. So we have Chen here in the offlane. He's kind of being left alone here, so he doesn't get any of the runes, but that's just fine. So they're down 1-3 in the runes. That's a slight disadvantage, but it's not the biggest of deals. So what he's going to do here is just lane by taking over these range creeps. That's sort of the trick to making Chen position 3 work. You can just right click really well with these creeps together, and you have a lot of last hit damage, and you can easily last hit and deny, and usually have a nice laning phase. Now Chen is going to be left here mostly alone, so we're not going to see this kind of laning phase domination that we've seen in the previous video I covered of Chen offlane. So if you haven't seen my previous video, the idea behind Chen 3 is that you farm well in this lane with these creeps, and then you get an early Dominator. And Dominator is a really strong item if you can get it early on. And from there you just sort of buy typical Chen items, but you're just going to have a lot more farm than a typical Chen, and you're just going to scale quite well. Because Chen has quite strong talents. Get this XP talent level 10, and then you have 15. You have 2 very strong talents to choose from, as well as in all the other levels following that. One thing you have to be careful though in lane is these range creeps. You need to keep these creeps alive. If you just take a look at the lineup right now that they have here on Alliance, they have this Drow lineup. So we have Drow in the safe lane and Gyro in the mid lane. Of course, Drow Gyro is a very strong and potent combo. One of the reasons for that is that Gyrocopter as a hero that sort of can come online early and go for this phase drums BKB build and fight early on. And with the Drow backing you up, you actually scale in the late game. The problem here is that they're playing against this Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer is an excellent hero against Drow. It's also quite good against Gyro, unless Gyro gets more of these AoE damage items. And so we're actually going to see this Gyro in this game going for Aghanims and Maelstrom. And this means that they now have 2 heroes that are kind of greedy, that really want us to farm early on, and that's going to be a bit of a problem, but this is where our Chen comes in. Because Chen is a hero that comes online very early. You just basically want to get this Dominator, and then you're basically online, and this is going to allow them to just fight in the mid game, even though they have this fairly greedy lineup. So what is Chen doing meanwhile? He has this range group here, and he's going to pull his wave. This is one thing you can do as Chen. If you're not winning your lane, you can just do this sort of shenanigans. And what he's going to do with this is he's just going to go here to these camps and farm in the jungle a little bit and still get this wave as well. He's going to get this Hellbar Smasher. Hellbar Smasher, one of the strongest creeps in the early game, with this pretty strong Thunder type ability, as well as of course his Swiftness aura. And you can easily farm these ancients, just have to make sure your creeps don't die, rotate them a little bit, and there we go. And now he has his Dominator complete, and can take over this Centaur. Centaur is a very good creep to get with the Dominator, because this Dominator creep has more movement speed. So 425 movement speed makes it quite easy to actually land those stomps. Because if you have those regular Centaurs, it's quite hard to actually land stomps if you don't have some sort of setup. And here, the 3 is going to recall, and they're going to try to get a kill on Phantom Lancer. This is a very strong thing that you can always do with Chen and laning phase. You can just always call over someone. You can even call over like your mid and go for a kill, because mids can easily just TP back to his lane afterwards. But in this case, Tiny is just really good here to recall, because this is a nice setup stand in the toss. And Gyro is not necessarily someone who wants to fight right now, he just wants to farm basically. And if you look at the last hits here, Jenna's a little bit behind this Phantom Lancer, but it's also 1 vs 2 lane most of the game, so that's just fine. Now they're going to try and take this tower. What you want to do here is, as before, rotate those creeps. Don't let your creeps just die, don't let them tank a lot of tower damage, just a little bit at a time, and you have all this region. Your creeps can go back to healthy quite soon. And 33 gets the tower. In the early game you want to make sure you get creeps that are good at fighting, that's creeps like the Dark Claw Summoner with his nets and his raised deadly skeleton actually do a surprising amount of damage. Then of course these guys with their clap ability and the Centaur with his stomp. And this Ghost Lady, she has quite a lot of right click damage. It is piercing damage though, so it's good for farming, not necessarily that good against heroes. There's a little fight here breaking out, and they can't really do anything. Here's kind of a lesson in what not to do. They don't really know where anyone is except for this Phantom Lancer. And just pushing here on his own. I mean, there is a Tiny and Rao sort of nearby, but not close enough. And Chen is just going to die with all his creeps. And that's really something you want to avoid. If you have this happen, like having it happen once in the game is kind of okay. So they are creating space here. Also getting a kill here on the Phantom Lancer top, so that's a good trade, I guess. But you didn't need to do this to get this kill. And losing an entire army is kind of costly. It takes a little while to get the army back online. The Dominator helps with that, because you can get 1 extra creep here without having to wait for this cooldown. But still, you don't really want to have this happen to you. And now 33 is just switching over to full cloak creep mode. And he's also getting a pipe, which of course is quite strong here against all this magic damage that the Radiant team is outputting. I mean, you have Leshrac, who's a support, but still he still does a lot of magic damage even as a support. Then it's Ember Spirit, who is going to be going for a Maelstrom. And then we also have some light magic damage from the other heroes, like Kotl with his blast, and Abba with his shield and with his coil. So he's also getting a pipe here, of course good against all this magic damage coming out from Radiance. And he also just used Hand of God. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe he was trying to save his creeps or something, and no one in this team was low. Guess it was a misclick. And this Zhao is just going to kill this Alpha Wolf. That's a report. I mean, yeah, you need to farm on Zhao, but do you really need 40 gold more than 30% damage amp? I mean, Zhao has literally no bonus damage. He's only a space damage, so this is like a straight up 30% damage boost. Definitely want this Alpha Wolf creep on this team. But as I was saying, Pipe is quite a strong item here, of course, against the magic damage, but it doesn't interact all the way with those cloak creeps. Those cloak creeps, of course, give you magic resistance, and the Pipe gives you a damage block against magic damage. And it blocks 400 magic damage, but it's magic damage before reductions. So even though you're going to have like more than 50% magic resistance, it's still just going to block 400 raw magic damage. Runes are coming up, and Alliance are trying to take 3 runes. They have this little fight here at this rune, and Hanskin actually gets the rune. They don't get this kill, but they do take 3 runes. Right now they're sort of waiting to get like 1 or 2 more items. You have this Gyrocopter almost finishing his Aghanims. After that he's going to go for a Maelstrom, and then you have this Drow who really wants the immunity for Hurricane Pipe. And meanwhile 33 is just stacking these cloak creeps. If there's one thing I want to criticize about 33's Chen gameplay, is that it seems like he has sort of this switch in his brain where he's saying either I'm getting like strong fighting creeps that have active abilities and so on, or I'm getting these cloak creeps. And there's like no in between. And these cloak creeps are great, but it doesn't have to be all one or the other. You don't necessarily need 5 of these creeps. This aura is great and it stacks, but it stacks multiplicatively. So he has 5 of these creeps. They get 20% magic resistance themselves from each of these aura instances. And yet if you look here, the magic resistance only says 70%. So they're getting, even though if it's stacked additively, it would be 110%, because 20% from each of these auras and then 10% from pipe. But that's not how it works. It's multiplicatively. And right now Alliance is going to merge on this tower. Look at this gyro, he has 62% magic resistance. That is quite a lot. And that's why he doesn't have to rush this BKB, because he's already getting all this magic resist from Chen. And at this stage Alliance is quite strong, even though they have these 2 heroes that want a lot of space and that scale well. They're still quite strong because this Phantom Lancer isn't quite online yet. He has his Manta, which allows him to farm faster, but doesn't have Diffu yet, so this Phantom Lancer can't really fight yet, which means that Alliance can just go for this push, and they can siege this tower. And it's only 18 minutes in, but there's not much fun that they can do here. They're taking the tower, and 23 is vitally keeping the scripts in the back. Because one of the scripts to run up here and just get killed. And now they kind of have to defend. And Phantom Lancer still farming, and he now finally has his Diffu. And now they can come in and actually fight this. So Gyrocopter is being set upon with this Yules, gets stunned, and now gets Ignis. And it's kind of hard to fight into this, but they have this Drow lineup, they can just easily take down this Ignis. And in this fight, as Chen, you just sort of want to stay back and stay in aura range. Not really that much you can do here. But I guess you can right click. Chen actually has a decent amount of right click here because of this Drow. And so they win this fight with all this magic resistance, and they're ready to push on. But they've got a buyback here, and they decide that it's time to back out. So they've taken tier 3 tower, they forced a buyback, so Alliance can be very happy with that. And now it's time to spread on the map. It's time for Chen to get some more creeps. He's got this melee creep that he took over in the fight. That's quite good. These melee creeps are good for taking a couple of tower hits, as well as just do some right click damage, because they have normal damage, so they do better against structures than hero damage would. So now we have Gyrocopter with his Aghanims and his Maelstrom. Of course, it's a very excellent build against Phantom Lancer. With the attack speed from the Drow, he's going to spawn lots of lightnings, and this Aghanim is also basically like an attack speed item. So that's a good way of dealing with Phantom Lancer. And also with Aghanims on Drow, which they're also going to do, but it's just an item that comes out rather slowly on Drow, because you kind of need this Hurricane Bag, you need some sort of ability item, you need this extra range, so you don't want to rush this Aghanims on Drow, but getting it now. And then of course you can also go into this this Maelstrom or this Mjolnir, and that way with these 2 heroes combined you can deal really well with this Phantom Lancer. And for everything else, there's Chen with his magic resistance creeps and his pipe, because the magic damage that's coming out from Fnatic is not really doing it for them against all this this magic resistance that Chen is putting out, this barrier, this healing. It's quite hard to get through there. And now after he's gotten this pipe and this mech, he's also getting a Vlad's, And then of course he's eventually going to go into this Guiding Greaves. But Flats is like a really good item. It's not an item you necessarily need to rush. You can rush it on Chen. What he's done in his pub games, or Splatoon 3 Chen, he's usually gotten Dominator and then just straight into Vlads. But here in this game, he wanted the Pipe, as well as of course the mech for fighting. But then you can still go back for this Vlads, because Vlads is an item that scales quite well with all this percentage-based damage and lifesteal. So one thorn in Alliance's side is that they haven't even yet gotten this mid-tier 1 tower. And this is very important, because this tower is what controls access to Roshan. It's very difficult to do Roche if your enemy team is unless tier 1 tower in mid. So getting this tower is very important to opening up the map. Not just for Roche, but also just generally for map control. And there's going to be a fight here in the middle. Ignis, of course, is very annoying, but with Drow we can sort of deal with it. And they very smartly throw up this Chen in there so he can't heal the Drow. Kind of a slow fight, nothing doing that much damage. And Chen trying to get away here. And he's going to manage it just in time. And this fight, it's kind of a slugfest. Another team really getting a decisive advantage. But now that Drow is back, this Strike Coupler is back to actually dealing damage. And this Phantom Lancer is going to die, and this is a great opening now for Alliance. Alliance taking the tier 1 tower. There's no buyback on this Phantom Lancer. They don't know that, but yeah, Phantom Lancer bought out for this heart, which is reasonable. Heart is a really strong item on Phantom Lancer, but it also means that they cannot contest this Roshan. And here, the 3 very smartly here pulling back into creeps. They just want to have these creeps die, wanting to survive and reach them back up with all these auras that they have. You know, these creeps have 23 regen here from all these Chen auras. And he has actually a really nice team here assembled. These 3 aura creeps here, as well as this Frost Mage, who is one of the strongest creeps in the mid and late game, especially against a hero like Phantom Lancer, because this slow is quite strong against melee heroes. And now you're going to see something very sad. This Ogre Frost Mage is like the mid player from your pub games. He's just going to feed down mid. A very sad sight to see. And he's not being properly valued by 33. I think this is definitely a mistake. I think you definitely want to keep this Frost Mage alive. He's so strong against Phantom Lance in particular. Yes, these Cloak Creeps are great and so on, but 10% magic resistance is not as strong as 8 armor and this slow you get from the Ogre Frost Mage. And he's gonna let this one die as well. If they can kill him. Okay, now Limp denies him, puts him out of his misery. And they get more of these magic resistance creeps. I guess, I mean, this Tomato creep is not that strong because we already have plenty of attack speed from Drow. So I can get behind this act of euthanasia, but killing the Ogre Frost Mage, I don't think that's good. So Alliance is really strong right now. They have this BKB, they have this Aegis on Drow, and Limp is doing well too. I also have this Kata Wave, so they push. Unfortunately, this Kata gets minus, but that's okay. And 33 is just staying back. He's just staying back, riding his auras. He doesn't do anything overly ambitious, like running all his creeps up here, because then his creeps will just die, and his push will get a lot weaker. And there's not really that much that Fnatic can do against this push. I mean, they can spam these Illuminates, but they don't really do that much against all these magic resistance creeps. And so Alliance just take these lane racks, and they can safely retreat. Creeps also trying to get out of here. And it's really just fine. Fight breaks out here, but I don't really think that they can really fight on Fnatic. And I don't think so either. I think they're going to lose this Ember Spirit. And so at this point the game is basically over. Lost his Ember Spirit, and yeah, it's a kind of weird decision by Fnatic to just let the racks fall and then fight there outside of the base after the Rex is already gone. I don't know what they were thinking there, but yeah, this is gonna see the end of the game. And I'm also going to cover the other 2 games from Gambit, playing Chen offlane. There's going to be a video coming up after this one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and help spread the word so you can spread the word of Obelisk to more Chen players. And I will see you next time. May Obelisk protect you.
Radiant's ancient alliance. Victory.